Okay, so welcome. Welcome everyone. Welcome Mary to the Art of Letting Go Masterclass. Thanks for joining me. So the full title of tonight's session is How to Master the Art of Letting Go of Any Stressful Thought or Emotion in Minutes and find authentic happiness, fulfilling flow, higher purpose, wonderful well-being, and thrive even in these turbulent times which we live in, without spending a fortune or wasting more time on motivational books, workshops, seminars, personal counseling, pills, psychotherapy bills, or anything else. So there's perhaps a few controversial things in there, but I'm going to unpack all of that and explain it as we go along. So these are the objectives and the structure of the masterclass. So I'm going to guide you through a simple breath-based relaxation technique. So we'll do that right now. So just to kind of clear some space in your mind, just pause, close your eyes, and just connect with your breath. So taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Just notice how the lungs, well, first of all, your stomach pushes out. So you're breathing into your belly button, then the chest expands, and then also purveyor sort of into the head. And pause briefly, just finding some stillness in the gap between breaths. And just exhale out the nose. Air flows out of your nostrils. The chest and stomach suck back in. Again, pause at the bottom of the exhale. Just do 3 deep breaths like this. Breathing in again, notice the stomach rise, the chest rise, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. If you notice any thoughts and emotions going on that are in any way disturbing, then just let them go. So as you exhale, breathing out through the mouth, just have a sense of letting go of whatever's bothering you mentally, physically, emotionally. Just dropping it all into the nothingness it really is. Finding a place of calm and peace in your mind. And so one more deep inhale. Notice how the stomach rises, chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Smile at the top of the inhale. Okay, and just notice anything that's going on in your thoughts and your emotions. Notice any physical sensations that might be occurring. Maybe there's a knot in your stomach, a block in your chest, clenched jaw, clenched fists, tight mouth, dry mouth, sweaty palms, any of these kinds of symptoms. Notice and just as you exhale, breathe it all out. Just have a sense of letting it all go to create some space and some openness in your mind so that you can just be an empty vessel tonight. It's about emptying your mind so that you can truly be filled up with some new ideas and inspiration. If your mind is already filled and cluttered, then that is impossible. So just set that intention that you're willing to really open yourself up to some of the ideas I'll be sharing, and just consider them without any of your normal preconceived judgments and filters. So when it's said, so when it's done. And gently, when you're ready, just open your eyes. So nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. For the next couple of hours or so, just follow your breath. Just make it a practice. Just keep watching the breath, staying in this nice, calm, relaxed space as I guide you through this masterclass. So that's the first part of it done. Just hopefully that relaxed you. Second point or objective is to share one secret skill that you need to master to allow your life to work miraculously. I'll explain what miraculously means. Talk about 4 life-changing benefits of doing this. I'll share 7 stress-busting techniques to help you to master this one essential skill. I'll tell you how you can practice these in your daily life to experience all these fantastic benefits. Finally, I'll guide you through the 10-step letting go process in a meditation just to set you up for hopefully a very good night's sleep. And then we'll have some time for questions. But as I said, if you have any questions, just fire away as we go. And just unmute yourself. I see you muted, so you can unmute yourself or stick something in the chat. There's your chat box down the bottom. You can put something in there and I'll see that. Okay, so I'll just talk a bit about the 10-step letting go process. It's a 20-minute meditation. I'll also give you the instruction sheet for the process. It's a written instruction sheet that you can use just to guide you through it. You can also do it in writing using the written worksheet. Plus there's a half-hour recording to guide you through it that I'll give you with some nice music and nature sounds in the background. And chance to win a 30-minute online breath coaching session. Well, Mary, it appears like you might just have lucked out, because if you're the only one who turns up, then you're it. So just stick around till the end. That's my only condition. If you stay until the very end of the session, I will just try and wrap it up by 9 o'clock your time. Then we can schedule that sometime in the next week or so. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why are you here today? Let's pause and ask yourself that. You must be looking for something. No one does anything unless there's some kind of seeking, some desire, or some fear that you're avoiding. That's also a motivation for action. But you don't generally come to a presentation like this because of fear. It's more about something you're looking for. So you may think you're looking for relief from stress, anxiety, depression, and dis-ease. That's a very common reason people come to seminars, to sessions like this. Better health, it's related, because disease leads to disease. More wealth, perhaps. It's a very common one. Better relationships, better quality of life and lifestyle. And you could go on that list, but I won't. Because there's something deeper than that. Something that you're ultimately looking for. So just ask yourself that question. What are you ultimately really looking for? And if you could put it into a word, it would be happiness. There's other words for it. You could call it peace, inner peace, or you could call it love. You could call it flow. I'll use all of these terms, but happiness is probably one of the most common ones. Just a sense of feeling okay with yourself, okay with the world, fairly peaceful, calm, and in an okay state, which many people don't live in at all. Happiness is very elusive. So let me ask you a question. Why haven't you found lasting happiness yet? I'm going to just pause and reflect on that for a few minutes. Why haven't I found lasting happiness? Why am I still seeking for it? And it's because you're looking in the wrong place. So don't take it personally. It's just part of the conditioning of the human condition and society. Is we've been conditioned to think that we'll be happy when we have better or more of something. And that might be better or more health and fitness. So a healthy, fit, sexy body is highly prized in our society. We're bombarded with these kinds of images by advertisers, and very few people have these kinds of bodies. Very few people live up to the standard, which means most people feel less than adequate according to this apparent standard that's been held up. But the thing with idolizing the body is that very quickly we age. Whatever you're doing, no matter how well you look after your body, you are going to get older, and the body is going to decay, so its functions aren't going to work so well. And so we get older, and often the consequences are that we have to start using things like walking sticks and taking pills. So another thing that the ego holds up for us is nice stuff. So whether it's a fancy car or nice clothes or the latest lounge suite or iPhone or whatever it is that you desire, this is what a lot of people pursue in their lives. But all of this stuff's temporary. So the car can break down, the iPhone will be out of date in a couple of years, your clothes will go out of fashion, and so it's not really a lasting source of happiness. It might give you some kind of temporary thrill or satisfaction. A nice house. A lot of people go, I'd love to have a house like this. The lifestyle would be amazing. But the fact is, wherever they go, they're still there. So they take all their problems with them. They're just living in a little bit more of a luxurious setting. And of course, that doesn't last either. Houses can burn down, be repossessed. I've seen a lot of that in the last year or so. So it's not a very good place to source your ultimate happiness from, because none of these things are permanent. Travel on holidays is another one. Well, that's taken a big knock over the last year. If you're a travel addict, then mostly you're going to have been disappointed, because that sign's been up a lot around the world. Sorry, we're closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdowns. So nice experiences with your loved one, special person in your life. And of course, that can very easily turn and have an argument, and then suddenly what was bliss becomes hell. So those are some of the sources. We also look to books, and I've read many of these kinds of books. Started reading them when I was a teenager, but what I found towards the end of my someone's just joined us. Hi, Lisa. Let's just wait for her to join. Lisa, can you hear us? Can you hear me? Okay. She's busy joining. Okay. So we'll just carry on. Hopefully she'll arrive soon. So as I was saying, I was really addicted to these. Okay, there they are. Great. There's Tim, Lisa. Hi guys. Hi Lisa. Can you hear me? Let's just ask her to unmute. Make sure they've got. And Tembisa seems to be unmuted. Tembisa, can you hear me? Winston? Okay, not getting much back here, but I'm just going to assume you can. So And thanks for joining, guys. We've just done about 10-15 minutes, so just pick up. You haven't missed very much. So I was just talking about these kinds of motivational books, and you may well have read some of them. I read probably hundreds when I was a teenager, and throughout my 20s, based on this kind of philosophy, I decided to become a professional squash player. I wanted to be the world champion because they're all saying, you have to be the best at what you do, and that's the way you get some kind of worth in your life. And towards the end of my 20s, I kind of hit a wall with it because everything I dedicated my life to up to that point for about 15 years, I suddenly realized that it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to be the champion squash player that I thought I would be, that I'd set the goal to be. And that really caused me to reflect on my journey and ask myself, okay, well, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe this isn't the full picture. Maybe the idea that your life is worthwhile if you achieve great things is not the complete picture, because I hadn't done it. And actually, by letting go of that, I felt quite a lot of peace. I felt quite peaceful. I carried on playing squash, and I think I enjoyed it a lot more, having let go of that sort of driving ambition. And so that opened the door, and I'd started meditating as well a couple of years earlier to help me to improve my squash. And that really opened the door to another way of thinking, to starting to question this idea that we're not okay as we are, and that we need to do something. We need to achieve something. We need to make something happen. We need to acquire things, something external to us to make us okay. Which is what many of these kinds of books are based on. It's a growth philosophy. It's based on the idea that only if you grow are you worthwhile. And although there's nothing wrong with growth, if you make your worth dependent on anything external that you have to achieve as a sign that you've grown, then you're heading for trouble. And that's what I realized, because you set yourself up for often a lot of pain and disappointment. And you actually deny the peace and the happiness that are there for you always, just in the moment. So I learned some pretty powerful lessons in my late 20s. I was very fortunate, and very soon after that, I actually started my own business, Lifebuild, which is still going, and I started to teach some of the spiritual principles that I learned. I then got into A Course in Miracles in 2006. I'll talk more about that. And my journey has continued, and so this was the start of it, but it certainly wasn't the end point. There is a lot more to life than the idea that you have to achieve in order to find any kind of happiness. And also, one can just get addicted to reading. So more and more information, and all these concepts, but really it's about application. You're stuck in books, the archetype of bookworm, often as an academic who's not actually really living these principles and ideas. It's more just theoretical understanding and not actual application. And what we're aiming at really is application. So seminars like this, well, they're not happening now with lockdowns and so on. It's all gone online. But even when they were happening, I've been to one of these with this man himself, Tony Robbins, in London. And it was an interesting experience. I thought I was at a rock concert sometimes, because there was all this cheering, and really knows how to hype people up. But I didn't really think it was very sustainable form. It wasn't inspiration. It was more like temporary motivation, everyone getting on high. What happens afterwards is the question. So I think a lot of people go to these to have a nice experience. It's a high experience for a weekend, but afterwards, often they're still left with having to deal with their daily life and their problems. And what we're looking for is a way of staying inspired when you're on your own. So And then I talked about pills earlier. So whether that's drugs or it's vitamins, a lot of people are looking for some kind of salvation in a pill, and it's not there. Something external to you can really bring you the happiness you seek. And obviously, the downside of that is addiction. So getting addicted to substances is the road to pain, a lot of pain and suffering, because from every high there's often an even worse low for longer times. So that's not a path we want to follow. Psychotherapy is another place people look, and that can be sometimes helpful just to talk about your problems, but too often it just becomes another crutch. So now I need to go to my therapist once a week, and some people have been going for years, and they're not really resolving anything. It's just like a nice, comfortable session, and they go there and they feel a bit better, but they're not really looking in their own mind. They're often looking to the therapist to help them, and it's a common thing that therapists and their long-standing clients have this kind of relationship, and they actually have to break up. Psychiatrist friend of mine told me about his experience with that when he was going to a therapist. So that's not really a sustainable solution either. Right, let's just make sure that Winston, can you hear me? Okay, I'm just gonna crack on. You guys are jumping in and out. I don't know why. I'll just mute you in case there's any background noise.
Yes, I can.
You can hear me. Okay, great. Yeah, just hopefully you'll stay in. Just if you can stick yourself on mute, that would be great. I see Lisa's jumping in and out, so hopefully she can get a stable connection and join us. And
Yeah.
okay, great. And often these psychotherapy and a lot of therapies costs a lot of money. It's an expensive way. So I promise to that you wouldn't have to do any of that. So it's about saving money and time. So let's get to the crux of it. And the crux of it really is that all right. Tembisa, can you mute yourself? I'm just going to mute everyone. That might be okay. If you want to unmute yourself, you can, but I'm just muting everyone. All right. Okay. Is that muted? I don't know. Anyway, let's crack on. So all mental illness is some form of external searching. Here's a principle from A Course in Miracles, which I'll talk about just now. So whenever we're seeking outside of ourselves, there's a problem. We're actually mentally ill, because true health lies within us, in our own minds. And this is something that's been perpetuated in our culture. So we're told that happiness is something that we buy. Happiness is 18 days of festive deals. I took that photo a month ago over the festive season, because it's ridiculous. It's just not true. If we believe this, then we're setting ourselves up for a lot of pain and disappointment. So this is a quote from Laurie Santos, who founder of the Happiness Lab, that had apparently 20 million downloads of some of their material. And she said, we often think we know what will make us happy, but the science shows our minds don't always point us in the right direction. We long for fame and money, or a beach body, exactly the things I've talked about and shown you, or a new car. We expect these things will make us happier. Just that those expectations are flat out wrong. So there's an expert on the subject of happiness saying these are just wrong. They're never going to work. Because happiness isn't a goal in itself. Happiness is something that comes, as this quote so beautifully says, it's something that comes when you can just sit down quietly and you can let go of the chasing, let go of the pursuing. Happiness is a butterfly which, when pursued, is always just beyond your grasp. but which, if you will sit down quietly, may come and alight on you, which is a lovely quote from 1885. So this isn't new age. This is a very old subject: happiness, peace. It's probably the oldest pursuit of humans. It's to try and find happiness in their lives, and we're still trying. Thousands of years later, it's still the question is how you find this. We have to look to these ancient principles. If you just sit down quietly and you stop pursuing, because by definition, when you pursue something, you're saying, I'm not okay as I am. I need something else to fulfill me, to make me happy. And Buddha, 2,500 years ago, said desire is the source of all suffering, for that reason, because the more we seek, the more we're actually saying to ourselves that we're not okay as we are, and we need something else, something external to us to complete us. So that's a scene from the Matrix movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but that's the back of Neo's head. He's the hero of the story, and he's gone to visit the Oracle, who's trying to help him to really wake up, to come into the awareness of who he really is. And she points to the sign above her lintel, and she says, do you know what that means? Temet nosce means know thyself in Latin. So she's pointing within. She's saying, this is where the answer lies, within yourself, not anywhere else. It's not outside of you. As Csikszentmihalyi, who is the professor of psychology and world-renowned author, he coined the idea of flow, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail as we go on. So he said, to know oneself is the first step toward making flow a part of one's entire life. But just as there is no lunch in the material economy, no free lunch in the material economy, nothing comes free in the psychic one. If one is not willing to invest psychic energy in the internal reality of consciousness, and instead squanders it in chasing external rewards, one loses mastery of one's life and ends up becoming a puppet of circumstances. It's really just echoing what so many spiritual teachers have said over the centuries, that if we look outside of ourselves, we are going to we're setting ourselves up for suffering. We're squandering our consciousness. We lose mastery of our life. We effectively become a puppet or a victim of circumstances, which is a very disempowering state to be in. So let's pause and just ask, well, then what is the cause of unhappiness? If we can't find happiness externally, then the cause of unhappiness is some form of external searching, if you remember A Course in Miracles. And so mental health is the opposite. Mental health is inner peace. It enables you to remain unshaken by lack of love from without, and capable through your own miracles of correcting the external conditions which proceed from lack of love in others. So very profound statement, that just to remain unshaken by lack of love, which seems to be quite prevalent in this world, from anywhere outside of you. So that's other people, circumstances, people, places, events, because you realize that your love and your peace come from within you. And when you can change your mind, when something externally happens to try and convince you that lack of love is true, and you change your mind and you find that love in your own mind and heart, that's really what a miracle is. It's a shift from fear, from this lack of love state, which is what so many people suffer from in this world, to a feeling of love and the peace and the happiness that come with that. And when you do that, you can actually start correcting external conditions as well. So you can be a change agent in the world for good, because all problems stem from lack of love in yourself and others. And if that can be corrected, and it's just simply a shift in mind, then you can help to transcend and transform all problems in the world. So that's what a miracle is. So what is the key to happiness then? Well, if it's about finding inner peace, then happiness really just relies on one character trait, and that's self-discipline. It's the discipline to discipline your thoughts, and discipline to be aware and to manage your own thoughts and emotions. That's really the central character trait, and that can be helped by things like yoga and various spiritual practices, which I'll talk about, which are all really just about learning to discipline your mind. So self-discipline to do what? Well, in a nutshell, it's to let go of any negative thought and emotion. And I kind of hyphenate that because thought leads to emotion, and emotion stimulates thought, and that leads to more emotion. And so the two is very difficult to separate the two and say that's a thought and that's an emotion. They're really intertwined, and the one leads to the other. Whenever these negative thoughts and emotions arise, and just being able to recognize that something is a negative thought or emotion. Because too often we get confused. We don't actually know what's negative and what's positive, what's true and what's false anymore. The benefit of being able to do this is that you can experience authentic happiness. And why is that so? Well, because happiness or unhappiness is always experienced in your own mind. And you might dispute that. You might say, well, something outside of me is making me happy or unhappy. But if you're honest about it, it's really just your perception of whatever that is. As an example, the same thing can make different people ecstatically happy or very unhappy. It's exactly the same thing, exactly the same experience that happens. So it's really about how you perceive it that determines your happiness or not. It's an inside job. So only your own negative thoughts and feelings can make you unhappy. That is a great spiritual truth. And you can argue with that. But ultimately, it's your own thoughts and feelings that make you unhappy. They might seemingly be triggered by something, but it's up to you whether you want to experience those, whether you want to think those thoughts and feel those feelings. You can change your mind no matter what's happened. And because those two things are true, therefore learning how to let go of your negative thoughts and emotions must be the key to your happiness. Those first two statements are true then, and the third one is true as well. Because the negative thoughts and emotions make you unhappy, so letting go of them then means there's nothing to make you unhappy anymore. And the idea is that when you let go of everything else, but like Michelangelo cutting away all the marble to sculpt the David, just cutting away what wasn't the David, what wasn't really true, what made you unhappy, and then what's left is your natural state of happiness. So that's the first benefit of mastering the art of letting go. Second one is this idea of fulfilling flow. So I'm going to dive into this a bit more deeply to explore what this idea of flow means. So being able to let go of negative thoughts and emotions pretty quickly leads to a state of calm, a state where you're poised and you're able to enjoy each moment. And then you can take positive and effective action to respond to any situation appropriately, which is what we often need to do. So we're continuously having to respond to life. This isn't a philosophy that says you're just going to check out of life and meditate all day. You might do that for a short period every day, but most of the day you're going to be responding to people, situations, events, circumstances. And you want to respond in the most positive and effective way possible. And so the idea that you can let go of negativity then opens the way to that, because when you let go of negativity, you're naturally calm, you're feeling more peaceful, you're able to be more poised, and there's a natural enjoyment of each moment. You're more in the present moment than thinking about the past or worrying about the future. And that's the state in which positive and effective action can come. So that's key benefit number 2. As Csikszentmihalyi said, is when we act freely for the sake of the action itself, rather than for ulterior motives, that we learn to become more than what we were. So I'm just going to unpack that a bit, because there's some very profound wisdom in that. And this is really the essence of flow. It's when we act freely without wanting some end result, right? So the way the ego works is it always tells us, well, you're going to do this to get a result. You want to achieve a goal, you want to get an outcome. And really, when you're trying to get an outcome, you're coming out of yourself. You're going externally. Your mind is now attaching to external things. Whereas the idea of flow is that you're still very much in yourself. You're feeling peaceful, you're feeling calm, and you're acting from that state, freely from a state of peace and calm. That's what we call a state of inspiration, rather than for, oh, well, I want to achieve this goal or this result. It's more just a spontaneous arising of your action in response to whatever happens to be arising. And that's a much more spontaneous and creative way of responding to anything, especially difficult situations. And when we do this, we learn to become more than what we thought we were. So instead of this self-seeking, pretty self-centered individual who's always tuned to the YFM channel, which means what's in it for me, we start to be able to respond in much more loving, compassionate, helpful ways, because we're not dominated by this what's in it for me program all the time. And so flow unlocks, the idea of being in flow, it unlocks power and resources and results, miracles, if you like, because flow and miracles are really totally interconnected. In fact, you could say that flow is just a modern version of the word flow, is a modern term for miracles. It's this miracle-minded state where you're peaceful, you're happy, and you're just acting from that state, not really to achieve an ulterior motive. So as an example of that, this is a little case study I'm going to show you. This is Jesus and the Adulteress. We'll be talking about the Course in Miracles, and Jesus is the author of that. So I thought it's appropriate to kick off our case studies with the story from his life. So you may be familiar with the story. Jesus was preaching in the temple courtyards, and suddenly the teachers of the law, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were always trying to trick him, suddenly they arrived, and they brought this woman, and said, we've caught her in the act of adultery. She's married, and she's been caught in the act of adultery with another man, and they said the law of Moses asks us to. I'm just going to mute you, Lisa, because there's a bit of noise going on there. Welcome. Hope you can stay in. So they were trying to trick him. Basically, they were trying to say to him that the law of Moses says this woman should be stoned to death. What do you say? And if he said no, they'd say, well, you define the law of Moses. And if he said yes, well, then they would go ahead and stone her to death. So it was a trick. But Jesus responded just in a very calm, poised way. He didn't respond straight away. He just wrote something in the sand, probably just to pause and give himself a chance to collect himself and think about it. He wrote something in the sand for a few moments. And then he stood up and he said one sentence. That he who has never sinned cast the first stone. And that one thing said from that state of poise, calm, of presence, if you like, just dissolved the whole situation. Everything just dissipated. Everyone dropped their stones. The crowd went away. Even the teachers of the law went away. And he was left alone with the woman. And he said to her, have you ever have you sinned? And she said, yes. And he said, well, just go your way in peace and sin no more. So it was a great example of this idea of flow in a very tricky situation, which could have led to her death, to his death, to people getting seriously hurt or dying. And he just handled it with absolute poise. And then the key to higher purpose and wonderful well-being. So this is where this all leads. If you can find authentic happiness by letting go of negativity, and you can start to find flow in every aspect of your life, then you can find a healthy, meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life filled with miraculous experiences and results. Because happiness and flow create that. If you're happy and you're in flow, your mind's going to be healthy. Healthy mind creates a healthy body. You start to find meaning in just the ordinary things of life. You're not looking for anything extraordinary because the meaning is in your own mind. You are happy and you're in flow no matter what you do. It's more an underlying state than requiring something externally to give you that state. And then that just sort of expresses and extends into your life. As miraculous experiences and results. That doesn't mean that you're going to be raising the dead and turning water into wine and doing biblical style miracles. It simply means that you're in a state of happiness, you're peaceful, you're flowing, and you act from that state. And so your experiences tend to be like that. Even in difficult situations, you can find the good, you can find the positive, you can be a source of happiness and inspiration to other people. And so those are the benefits 3 and 4. So just to summarize, 4 keys to an extraordinary ordinary life. I call it extraordinary ordinary because it's extraordinary in that you're in an extraordinary state of mind, state of consciousness. But you carry on doing what you're doing. You living your life. You're working. You're shopping. You're cooking. You know, very ordinary experiences. But they become much more meaningful, much happier, much more flowing when you're in the state. So benefit number 1 is the key to authentic happiness. It's about how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them seems to be. So that's what really mastering the art of letting go is all about. It doesn't matter what's coming at you, no matter how big it seems to be, no matter how challenging situation provoking them seems to be. You can let it go. Then that opens the way to fulfilling flow. So how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, effective action to respond to any situation appropriately. And then benefits 3 and 4 are pretty connected. Sense of higher purpose, that's meaning in what you're doing, and a sense of well-being, which is very difficult to find if you haven't found happiness, flow, and meaning in what you're doing. So how to be happy and in flow in every aspect of your life and live a healthy, meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life filled with miraculous experiences and results. And I think you'd agree if you can do all of that, then your life is pretty successful. So it's also the meaning of true success. So can you see why letting go is really the critical skill? So letting go leads to authentic happiness, leads to this state of fulfilling flow, and that leads to a sense of fulfillment, higher purpose, and what I call wonderful well-being, which is a bit of a cliche, wonderful, that's an overused word. But in today's day and age, what with COVID-19 and supposed viruses and pandemics, it's a pretty extraordinary thing to actually feel genuinely well and have this sense of well-being, not just being physically healthy, but well in your mind, in your heart, your whole being as well. Hence, wonderful well-being. If you can't let go, then you can't be happy. It's as simple as that. If you can't let go of your negativity, then that's going to block your happiness. If you can't be happy, then you're going to find it very difficult to find flow because it requires that base state of happiness to start with. And then if there's no flow, you won't find fulfillment, you won't find any sense of higher purpose, you won't find wonderful well-being. You'll just find that life is a strain, you're grinding away, you're trying to achieve something externally to make you happy, and you're in that state of seeking and not finding, which is where the ego wants you. So how can I learn to let go is the question. And you asked this, Mary. So this is really getting to the crux of it. How can I actually do this practically? So learning new information is one thing, and it's often necessary, but it's not a sufficient step for a true transformation of mind to happen. So there's loads of information. You can get free information on the internet, information about how to live a happy, healthy, wealthy, well-being life of well-being is out there, but it's really about applying it It's about actually living this in your own life. So the information is one thing, but application is quite another. So there are two ways to true transformation. And often the first way is what people do. Through intense pain and suffering, you are forced to go within and break through suddenly to a new level of understanding and wisdom. And maybe you've experienced this in your own life. I think we've all had a taste of it. Because the truth is, we don't grow unless there's some kind of pain and suffering that forces us to grow. It forces us to question how are we doing things? Why are we doing things? It's just how far you want to take that. So some people have to really get to the point of total breakdown, of being on the verge of suicide before they will change. Example of that, a very famous one, is Eckhart Tolle. Probably heard of him. He wrote The Power of Now, A New Earth, a couple of other books, and he's probably one of the, if not the best known, one of the best known spiritual teachers and speakers on the planet. And he was very miserable for the first 29 years of his life. He was an unhappy child that carried on into his teens. His 20s, he just got worse and worse. He was more and more miserable, more and more unhappy. Till one night he was lying in bed and he said, well, I can't stand myself anymore. I can't stand the suffering. And that thought kind of split his mind. He had this thought of, well, who's the I that can't stand myself? Maybe there's two me's. And because I think he was in so much pain, it almost catapulted him into some kind of transformation. He said he felt like he was being sucked into a vortex and he passed out. Fortunately, he was lying in bed at the time. So no matter, he woke up the next day and his ego had largely disappeared. He just saw everything differently. He felt clear. He felt peaceful. He felt light. It was like, wow, what's happened? This is very different. The world's very different. All that darkness that was really in his own mind had shifted. And that's quite unusual for that to happen. For most people, it's more a slow process, which is where the second way comes in. So through conscious disciplined practice of spiritual ideas and techniques, you can systematically grow in understanding and wisdom. This is called the way of mastery, or I call it the way of mastery. So you can practice this. You can learn. You can practice. You can apply yourself to systematically start transforming your mind and your state of being, which is very encouraging. You don't have to wait for something to go wrong. You don't have to wait for intense pain and suffering. You might have experienced some of that to trigger you into this path of growth, and probably you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. But the second way is a much preferable way to the first way, because it's proactive. You can actually actively do something about it. So that's what I'm going to be talking to you about for the rest of the session. It's the principles of transformation through mastery and how you can actually do this in your life. So it's about understanding and realization through your personal experience. That's what this involves. It's not about just book learning and theoretical principles. So it does require your active willingness and disciplined effort. You're not going to do this unless you put time and effort into it, because no one can transform your mind for you, and you're not going to do it in a minute. Even we get inspirational quotes and they're fantastic. I send them out every day, but it requires a deeper going deeper and consistently going deeper, consistently being willing to change your thoughts and your emotions. So to help you do that, doing what I call key spiritual practices regularly is absolutely essential. And that can be greatly facilitated by another person or a group who help to raise the initiates. That's just transformational alchemical language. If you're on this path, you'd be called an initiate in the ancient schools of alchemy. So it's about raising your consciousness through this transmission of positive energy. And also the group and the person, the teacher, holds that person accountable. And both of those are very helpful if you really want to transform. So it's why a lot of people fail miserably on their own, because there's no accountability. There's no group energy to lift them up on a bad day. There's no teacher to say, have you done this, to hold you accountable. And often you need that just to make you aware of what it is that you need to do and give you a little bit of inspiration and motivation to do it. And so immersion in these key spiritual practices in the field of consciousness that happens when you're doing this in a group really greatly accelerates your own transformation, which is why people tend to get together to do this kind of work, whether it's on a retreat or a seminar for a weekend or a week, or whether it's something more long-term. You go to a monastery or an ashram, and a group of people who all want transformation get together to facilitate this transformation. It's a very well-known spiritual principle. And nowadays, that's harder to do because of lockdowns and so on, and traveling. It's just not realistic. Mary, for you, you're in Ireland, I'm in South Africa at the moment. So fortunately, we can do it online. This kind of technology facilitates a gathering online, and through that gathering, just by interacting with our voices, listening to each other, we can have this transmission of energy starts to happen. So these key spiritual practices that I mentioned include breathwork techniques, and I've just referenced this to yoga. So you've probably heard of yoga. Most people have. A lot of people think that yoga is just doing postures or asanas, they're called, in a yoga studio. So you go and you do your workout. Maybe you do a bit of meditation as part of that, but it's a physical workout. But yoga is actually an 8-limb system of transformation, which was designed to lead to enlightenment. And so these are the principles that I'm going to talk to you about tonight of yoga that are incorporated into this program, the Art of Letting Go program. So asanas are postures. So it's not just necessarily exercise postures. It's sitting in a meditation is a posture. It's a preparation for meditation. Pranayama means breath control or discipline of your breath. So that's just using your breath to start controlling your mind. What these ancient teachers figured out was that starting to control the mind just by going, well, I don't want to think of that. And the more you say, I don't want to think of something, the more you think of it. I don't want to think of a pink elephant. What do you think of? A pink elephant. Whereas just focusing on your breath helps you to let go of the mind and all these thoughts. And so it's a way around the thoughts that don't serve you, and as a start of letting go of them. And then pratyahara is a kind of a disengagement, a withdrawal of the senses. So whenever you breathe quietly, as you probably experienced, we did 5 minutes of just some breathing, start the session. There's a sort of withdrawal. You go within, and your senses aren't really engaged. So that's all incorporated into breathwork techniques. In multidimensional meditation, and I'll give you an example of that at the end of the session. This 10-step letting go process is multidimensional meditation. What that means is we're using your breath, we're using touch, we're using toning, we're using visualization. All of these are ways to help the mind to focus on, just like the breath, to focus on something else, called a mantra in meditation. And I give you many. So whichever ones work for you, you use. And multidimensional meditation incorporates the first three, is asanas, pranayama, pratyahara, as well as dharana and dhyana, which are meditative practice, meditative states, really. So dharana is the state where you are starting to be able to focus on a single thing, so it's single-pointed concentration. And dhyana is a very deep contemplative kind of meditation where you're just totally immersed in the experience. And there's generally only one state, one thing going on in your mind, which may actually be a state of nothingness, just emptiness, and you're just watching your breath. So that's multidimensional meditation. Then the third one is forgiveness, or letting go, as I prefer to call it. Forgiveness is quite misunderstood. A lot of people don't really understand what it means. They've got misconceptions about it. Letting go is pretty self-explanatory. The words say it all. You're letting go of something that doesn't serve you. And we're talking about thoughts and emotions here. But that might mean that you let go of something in the physical, but it starts with the thought and the emotion that have drawn that into your life. And the aspects of the yogic tradition, the limbs of yoga that incorporate into that are yama and niyama. So those are really about observances and restraints. They're called restraints and observances. So you restrain yourself from doing certain things, and you observe certain practices designed to help your health and well-being. Amongst which is this observance, this awareness of your thoughts, of your thinking, and to be able to let go of the negative thoughts. And then pratyahara, which is this withdrawal of the senses, can really help if you can go within in a meditation and do this. And again, I'll talk you through all of this at the end of the session in the 10-step letting go process. It incorporates all of those first three, as well as number 4, because it's a group session. So I'll give you a taste for how a group meditation works on Zoom. And that's about an aspect of niyama, which is the observances, called svadhyaya, which is the idea of studying. So you're studying in a group. A group study is a very well-known spiritual practice. A lot of people go to synagogues and churches and mosques and so on to do that. And they will generally read or recite things together, which leads us onto the 5th key spiritual practice, which is reading and listening to spiritual texts. That's also the part of the niyama svadhyaya, which is reading something that's going to inspire you and uplift you and help you to transform your mind with new ideas and new thinking. And the text we're going to use is called A Course in Miracles. But you could use anything if anything that's inspiring to you can fit into category 5. Number 6 is fasting and abstinence. So that's very much about what yama and niyama are. It's about restraining yourself from doing certain things which aren't really good for you, and that often plays itself out in the physical. So, for instance, staying away from certain foods or food entirely. Not taking harmful substances, so smoking, drinking, various toxins, and so on that so many people poison their bodies with, and that's part of cleaning the mind, because it's you actually letting go of the thoughts that drive those pretty unhelpful behaviors in the process of doing that. And finally, an end-of-day reflection. So this is just the idea that you can reflect, just be quiet. It's sort of a form of meditation, but you're thinking. It's not like you're trying to avoid thought. You're thinking. You're just reflecting on your day, on what you learned, on how you could have perhaps done things better, and that means that you don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again, because you're learning from your experiences in every day. So all of that is incorporated into this program I'm talking to you about just now, and those are really the 7 limbs of yoga, which is this ancient transformational system, probably the most ancient that got formalized, which leads to this idea of enlightenment, or as they called it in yoga, samadhi. Samadhi just means a sameness. So it's a sameness of mind. It means that you're not swayed by external forces, that you are rooted in yourself. There's a peace, there's a happiness that's coming from within you. And your perception is the same. You see everyone and everything is the same, because you see the life essence that is in everyone, and so that's really seeing the divine in everyone. If you see that, then you attain the same state that the likes of Jesus, that's a picture of Jesus, Buddha, various famous masters in history have attained, where they just saw everything as one. They saw everything as one with them, and there's naturally a state of love when you do that, and peace arises, happiness, joy. It all comes from this state of mind and this transformed perception. So that's where we're going with this. So I'm going to talk to you about the Art of Letting Go course that I've developed, which incorporates these 7 key spiritual practices. So it's a facilitated 6-week mind and life transformation process. It's based on the way of mastery, this yogic path, yoga, authentic yoga with the 8 limbs not just yoga that physical yoga that you do in a yoga studio. And this idea of immersion learning, that you can really immerse yourself into a subject, and that can be greatly facilitated by a teacher and a group who are helping you along the way. It incorporates 7 key spiritual practices and the 7 limbs of yoga. Just gone through those. And these key spiritual practices include live and recorded daily online meditations and discussion sessions. There's a breathwork course that's part of it, because breathwork is a foundational practice. So I teach you all the breathwork techniques in the first week. Incorporates self-study, solo meditation. There's all of those 7 elements in the program. And the goal is really to help you to learn to let go of fearful, stressful thoughts. So stress is just the perception of any kind of external threat. So it's stress and fear are really synonymous, but sometimes we just don't recognize that it's actually fear that's driving our thoughts and our emotions whenever they arise. So it's becoming aware of them and then learning to let them go. So you can start consistently experiencing the key benefits I've already talked about. So authentic happiness, you'll know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead. That's the start of it. That's the key skill. So another case study was a guy by the name of Phil van den Heever. He's the older one in the picture, in case you were wondering. And he did the first course I did, the first Art of Letting Go course, a couple of years ago now. And this is what he said. So he'd been studying A Course in Miracles, which I'm going to talk about just now, for 27 years at that point. And he said, in the last 6 weeks, I've learned more about it than in the last 27 years of study, which I took as a great compliment. I was actually felt like I was under a bit of pressure with someone who had that much experience of studying it when I facilitated, because I've been studying it for about 15 years now. So I'm well as junior in that respect, but it's not really about the amount of time that you spent. It's about the depth of your understanding. And he said learning how to forgive truly was the key benefit that he got from the course. So I'm just going to talk a bit more about A Course in Miracles. There's the picture of the book. You might have seen it. It's a big, thick blue book. So what is it? Let me just check in and make sure everyone's still with me and ask them if they're make sure everyone's still with me. So you guys still with me? Lisa? Mary?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, that's good. Just wanted to ask, have you heard of A Course in Miracles? Had you heard of A Course in Miracles before you came across me a couple of weeks ago?
This is totally new.
Listening together with Winston.
Yeah.
Lisa? Have you heard of A Course in Miracles?
You couldn't hear. Hi, Jonathan. Yes.
Yeah. So had you
Yes,
heard about it from some of the stuff I've sent you?
Yes, definitely. I'm actually with Winston as we speak.
Right. Yeah, I saw you guys are having some trouble to connect, but hopefully you can stay in it.
Yeah.
Hi, Winston. Mary, you still with us? Let's see if she's...
Yes, I'm here, Jonathan.
Okay, great. Had you heard of A Course in Miracles before
No.
before you met me? Okay,
No,
so it's pretty new to you.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna explain what it's all about. You can mute yourself. I'm just gonna mute you again. So what is A Course in Miracles? Well, it's a text of about 670 pages. It explains in detail the principles and philosophy on which the course is based. So that's the theory. There's a 488-page workbook, which is made up of 365 daily lessons, so one a day, designed to systematically train your mind how to let go of its negativity. That's really the aim of the entire course, but the workbook particularly. It's about actually practicing how to do that. So it gives you specific exercises to do so that you can live in this miraculous state of mind, in flow. You're feeling happy, you're feeling peaceful, you're in a state of flow, things unfold in a very different way from when you're in your ego, which is all about what's in it for me, and I get upset very easily, and I get angry, and I hold grudges, and so on. And then there's the Manual for Teachers, which is 92 pages. That's additional guidance and clarification of terms in a Q&A format. So where did it come from? It was transmitted by Jesus. He identified himself as such to an American professor of psychology named Helen Schuckman, who lived in New York between 1965 and 1972. So she was working in the College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York City, attached to Columbia University, in this quite prestigious academic environment. She was an associate professor, and yeah, very academic. There was a lot of infighting, a lot of backstabbing and unhappiness in their department. And so one day, her and her boss, a guy called Bill Thetford, were driving to a disciplinary hearing, and he turned to her and he said, I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of all this fighting and conflict. Surely there must be a better way. And she responded by saying, yes, I agree, and I'll help you find it. I don't know what it is, but I'll help you find it. And so this was an invitation to what the Course in Miracles calls the Holy Spirit. This is another voice, another mind in you that remembers something else, remembers something beyond the world of the ego, of separate bodies, of separate interests, of all the conflicts, disagreements that we have in this world, and remembers that there's actually this state of oneness or love. And that experience kicked off a series of pretty profound dreams. She started dreaming dreams in which she appeared as a white priestess. She told Bill about her dreams. She was like, I don't know what's happening. And within a few months, she started hearing this voice. So the voice introduced itself as Jesus and said, this is a Course in Miracles. Please take notes. And kept saying that. She got a bit freaked out. She phoned Bill Thetford, and she said, well, what do you think I should do? And he said, well, Helen, why don't you just do what it said? Write down what it says, and bring in your notes in the morning, and I'll take a look at it. And that's how this process of dictation started. We should call it an inner dictation that she heard for 7 years. Would come and go. This voice would pick up where it left off, would dictate to her. She'd write it down longhand. She'd take in the manuscript, and she'd read it, and Bill Thetford would type it up. So it was a joint project, which took 7 years, and then it was finally published in 1976 in 3 volumes. So what is it? It's a systematic mind training course to teach you a radically different way of thinking about and perceiving everything from what's called a non-dual perspective. So this is looking beyond the duality of our world, up and down, right and wrong, black and white, good and evil. Our world is characterized by these dualistic aspects. And it's about looking beyond that to something that's deeper, that's been hidden from us in all of our dualistic thinking, and starting to see everything and everyone in that way from this non-dual perspective. It's designed to teach you how to forgive or to let go, and the words are synonymous, of every false and therefore negative. So if something's false, then it's by definition negative, because it's not gonna bring you any true happiness or peace or joy. So every false or negative belief, thought, and emotion that causes you and others to suffer. That's what the course is aimed at doing. So it's a pretty simple objective, but it's not an easy one, because in case you're not aware, there are a lot of negative thoughts and emotions that knock around in your mind and in most people's minds. The world seems to be dominated by negativity rather than positivity. And so it does take a lot of mind training to train yourself to do that. And when you're on that path, when you're learning how to do that, it's really a spiritual path that will allow you to live happily, peacefully, and lovingly. And all of that together is the miracle. So that's miraculously, or in flow, if you like. Just terminology. Use whichever terms work for you. In the world, while you're not really of it. So as Jesus said, be in the world but not of it. That's what he meant. You can still operate, you can function in the world actually much more effectively than you did before, but you are not identifying yourself with the world. You're not thinking that you're a separate person with a separate body with all these separate interests that can be seemingly taken away and hurt and damaged. And ultimately, this path leads you to escaping this world entirely. So the idea is, this is the perennial truth, the perennial philosophy of almost every major spiritual teaching and religion and philosophy, is that there is something else. There's another reality beyond this world, and you can actually escape this world entirely. You don't have to spend the rest of eternity, the rest of time in a human existence. There's another state of mind, another state of being that transcends that. So some well-known students and teachers of the course. Marianne Williamson, might have heard of her. She's probably the best known. She actually ran for president. She tried to become the Democratic nominee for president. As we know, she wasn't successful, but I guess good on her for trying. Nelson Mandela. Now, I don't know if he studied the course directly, but he was certainly influenced by Marianne Williamson's ideas, because he quoted one of her most famous quotes. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, which most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I thought I'd share the whole quote with you. It's a beautiful quote. And Nelson Mandela said that when he came out of prison. And that's a direct quote from Marianne Williamson's book, based on A Course in Miracles, called A Return to Love. So he was influenced by A Course in Miracles. Indirectly, if not directly. That's Oprah Winfrey. You probably know about some of the amazing stuff she's done. She's good friends with Marianne Williamson. She regards Marianne as kind of a guru, as well as other people like Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra. She's very much into that whole spiritual community. And all of these people, well-known spiritual luminaries, if you like, have studied the course. Wayne Dyer, in his latter years, started to get into the course in a big way. Eckhart Tolle has started to teach the course, and maybe you're the next one. So I hope so. So to return, there's a bit of a digression. Just to return to that case study. This is what. So I want to just explain more about A Course in Miracles. This is what Phil experienced at the end of the course. He had a major breakthrough on the last day of the Art of Letting Go course. After we did something called holotropic breathing, which is one of the processes we do. Talk about that in more detail a bit later. And he sent me this email on the Saturday morning, the last day of the course, just telling me really what had happened. So he said, I did the session. And he did it the previous night, and then he sort of replayed it. He replayed the music, which I'd sent him. He did a bit of the breathing in the morning. And then he said he had this major cathartic experience. So he'd had this thing with his parents for some reason. He'd felt like they somehow they didn't measure up. They weren't good enough, even though they were very good people. His mother, as he says here, was brilliant. She got straight A's at school. She won a bursary. She taught high school English. Later in life, she did book reviews. She had a weekly column in the main newspaper in the town where they lived, up in what was then called Rhodesia. but he wanted her to be something else. God alone knows what. And so during this, the replay that he played the music again, it was holotropic breathing. He said, I had a catharsis. I broke down much as you described someone else's catharsis in the course, and I sobbed my heart out. That long moment, I was able to forgive myself and also to ask my parents for their forgiveness. I've been carrying this baggage around all my life at a huge cost, his words. So that was his major breakthrough, which probably came not just from that session. It was the product of 6 weeks of working, but he managed to let go of something that he'd been carrying around for 70 odd years of his life or more, which was pretty transformational. Then Hazel, this is another little case study, who you've met, Hazel and Mary. She did the session we did the other day. So this is what she said after doing the Art of Letting Go course she did in 2019. And after doing one of the exercises, exercise 9 on inspired decision making in Bali. So we did it on Zoom, but in groups. So the cool thing about this technology is I can split you off into groups, and you can do a one-on-one session with someone else, and then bring you back into the main group. So she did that, and she said, I felt this feeling of expanding energy radiating from my heart center, which I've never experienced before. The energy felt like pure love, which was exhilarating to the point of me being wide awake all night. What a stunning experience, which will stay with me for the rest of my life. So that kind of thing can happen. There's no guarantees. I don't know what you will experience, but if you do this kind of work, you can have some pretty extraordinary experiences like that, where your heart just opens and you really connect with this essence, this presence of love, like she did. So I'm hoping that that will happen for you on the course. So the second key benefit is fulfilling flow in your daily life. So you'll know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while being able to take positive and effective action, harmonious action, to respond to any situation appropriately, which is what we want. That's a very productive state to be in. So I want to share an experience I had when I was playing squash professionally 20 years ago now, almost. And my experience of this was 25 years ago, actually. Wow, I'm getting old. My experience was not a good one when I started. The first 6 months of my career I found quite difficult. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to perform, to win matches. It was really all about the outcome, the result, rather than just enjoying the process. And I didn't really understand these principles then. So one night I was due to play the opposite number in my club. So we had 2 sides in the first league in Johannesburg, and he was my opposite number. And I'd lost him a month or 2 earlier in our club championships. He was an older guy. I was in my early 20s. He was in his late 30s. He'd been a top player in his time, but he was past that. So in my mind, I should be beating him. But I lost him quite badly. So I remember really stressing out, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety during the day. It was an evening match, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it and obsessing about it. So anyway, towards the end of the afternoon, I decided to go for a walk. My sister invited me to go for a walk with the dog, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I need to get out of my head. So I went for a walk, and that just put me into a different space, into the state of flow. And I had chats about this, what I was experiencing with my sister, and she said, well, why don't you just relax and enjoy it? You started playing the game because you enjoyed it, so just enjoy it. Which made a lot of sense, but easier said than done, because the ego's chanting away in my head going, oh, you've got to win, and the whole club's going to be out, and they're going to be watching you, and your whole this decision to turn professional is at stake. This idea you're going to be the world champion is at stake. It's like, you feel stressed because your whole ego identity is on the line, effectively, which I didn't realize at that point. But somehow I managed to keep my mind empty. I just really didn't think. Part of my mind was wanting to go, you've got to plan this, you've got to plan your strategy, you've got to think about this, can't go unprepared. Another part was just saying, no, you know what, just don't go there. Don't even think about anything. Just go on. You know how to play. You've been playing this game for 20 years. nearly 15 years. You know how to do this. Just allow it. Just let go. And I managed to go on into the squash court in this very empty state. And I had this experience, which Eckhart Tolle describes beautifully. So there's a quote. This is from one of his books. I think it's the second one on A New Earth. So he said, artistic creation, sports, dance, teaching, counseling, mastery in any field of endeavor implies that the thinking mind is either no longer involved at all, or at least is taking second place. A power and intelligence greater than you, and yet one with you in essence, takes over. There is no decision-making process anymore. Spontaneous right action happens, and you, quote, the little you, are not doing it. Mastery of life is the opposite of control. You become aligned with the greater consciousness. It speaks, acts, and does the works. And that's exactly what I experienced that night. It wasn't me doing it. I wasn't consciously having to do anything. It just happened through me. I played amazingly. I played some of the most amazing squash I've ever played. Everything just went right. Nothing bothered me. And I won the match very easily. It wasn't really about the result. It was more about the experience, the liberation from my own self-imposed fear. That was the breakthrough. And I never went back into that same egoic consciousness of like, it's all about the result and getting really fearful and stressed. It was really a breakthrough for me, which changed my career. I carried an element of that flow, that zone with me in every match for the rest of my playing career. So a very profound, life-changing experience, and possibly I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't had that experience. So it really did change me as well, which is another one of those aspects of flow that I mentioned earlier in one of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's quotes. So key benefit number 3 is higher purpose. So you'll start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, and find higher purpose and meaning in all your daily activities. So that's really where the only place you're going to find your higher purpose. It's not in the great, grand, transcendent purpose. So that very seldom comes. And even if it does, it's over very quickly. Even if you manage to achieve some great accomplishment, it's over pretty soon. It's a temporary experience. So it's more about finding this happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, in your daily activities. Whatever you're doing, you do it in this calm, happy, peaceful state, and you'll find that you enjoy it much more, and you're more effective in whatever it is that you do, whatever actions you take. So you're probably familiar with that man, Roger Federer. I think people like watching him and other players like him because we're watching people at the top of their game. We're watching people when they're in flow. And there's something beautiful about watching that. When someone is not in their mind, they're not consumed by fear, and they're able to perform at a very high level under intense pressure of international competition. Many millions of people are watching, and yet you can do it because they get into a state of flow. It's the only way they can do it. But you don't necessarily have to be a Roger Federer, some world beater, to do this. So this is another case study. A guy by the name of Wim Grubenau, who did the first Art of Letting Go course that I ran a couple of years ago. And this is what he had to say. So during the course, a couple of weeks into the course, this is what he posted on the Facebook group. So I experienced a severe ego attack. He was playing a social match of tennis against a friend who's slightly better, and he played badly. And he got extremely frustrated and irritated with himself because he really wanted to win. He wanted to win at least a set off him. That was his egoic outcome. He wanted to win a set, and so he got very irritated. He tried to force points. He made mistakes. Everything got worse. If ever you've played sport and you've got into this space, you'll know it's not a pretty space, especially in an individual sport. There's nowhere to hide. So the whole match was very unpleasant for him, and he said, I should have realized what was going on, but he got caught up in the heat of the moment with the ego's thoughts about winning and the importance of doing well. And he acknowledged that this was something that he struggles with, his anger. And he said, I mustn't harbor guilt. I must forgive the circumstances and stay in the present. So he shared that. We discussed it during one of the sessions. discussed this ego attack on the tennis court, and I shared the experience I've just shared with you of my experience on the squash court. I shared some breathing techniques with him, and to his credit, he did all that. He applied it, he kept it in mind, he centered himself, he breathed, he found that he played in a much more peaceful way, he played much better, and he actually won. He won the match in 3 sets, which he'd never done before. But I realized that it wasn't about competition and winning, it was really about the experience. I was in flow, I really enjoyed it, and I was at peace. And he said, I experienced God's pleasure in me that day. He's actually a chaplain in the army, so and of course a miracle student. And here's the thing, it wasn't just in flow, he also learned something powerful about himself. He learned that he can choose to let go of anger, which just doesn't work, experience that firsthand, and be at peace instead. And so there's that aspect, the transformational aspect of flow. A higher purpose comes in because he's learned a profound lesson through that experience of flow. And that's the higher purpose and the higher meaning of it. And then the fourth key benefit is wonderful well-being. So you'll start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life. The idea is this carries through to everything you do. Your work life, your home life, your relationships, every aspect. It's not, only in one aspect. Like, some top sportsmen can do it in, they can get into flow on the sports field, but then not in their personal lives. It's about bringing it into every aspect of your life and making your life into an extraordinary, ordinary one. You're still doing what you're doing. You don't necessarily have to change any of the experiences. It's just the state of mind you do them in is very different. It's an extraordinary one rather than a negative one. And when you're in an extraordinary state of mind, this will give you and other people, so it's not just about you, it's about sharing the love. You can only really help people if you're in a positive state of mind yourself. And that's the miracle. You start to experience the love and the peace and the happiness and the flow for yourself, and you start to get better results in every aspect of your life, and you start to share that with people, start to extend it. You become a light unto people. You become a miracle worker, to use a Course in Miracles terminology. But you don't have to get fancy about the terminology. It's just a state in which you're feeling happy, you're feeling like you're in flow, and everything's working out much better. It's not to say you're going to never be challenged, but you're able to handle those challenges much better. So another case study. This is Robin. Robin did the first course that I ran in 2018, and at the end of the course, that's what she had to say. She was totally satisfied with the value she got, and she found it extremely helpful in helping her to let go of negative thoughts and emotions and find more happiness, flow, fulfillment, and purpose in her daily life. And then her comment underneath that was peace. She said, I experienced peace. That's a great outcome I've had from this course. Much less anxiety. I'm sleeping better. I don't take painkillers anymore for stress headaches. So that's getting off the drugs. Better relationships with her children, and not as frightened or worried. So pretty all-encompassing, better experience of life, which has lasted. So I want to share a video with you, because sadly a lot of these kinds of courses and so on seem to have a temporary benefit and then it fades pretty quickly. But this was a video Robin kindly recorded for me the next year. It was about 9 months later after she'd finished the course, and this is what she had to say.
Hi, my name's Robin. I did the course last year with Jonathan. I'd never heard of the course before. It was something entirely different to me, although I've been practicing meditation. I've been going to breathworks for some time, trying genuinely to find peace. I'm a mum, I work, I've got a normal busy life. I've been plagued with headaches, I've been plagued with sore necks and the normal problems that people have. I found that through the course and joining the online community, I found a group of like-minded people all exploring the course. The course is fundamentally different. At first I thought it was all about religion, which it wasn't. although it is about God, and I do believe in God, and it made a great deal of sense in my life that the only thing is really that we concentrate on is God. It's about finding love. It's about being kinder to people. I still listen to the teachings every day. I've found that by listening to the teachings and following the book and reading, I have become more compassionate. I've become a nicer person. I feel less guilty. I feel that the world is a different place. I don't feel that the world is always a good place. It's not. But I believe that it impacts me less. I used to be traumatized by the world. I used to lie awake and worry about things that are happening and my children and my life, and worry about my past and worry about the future. I've found that I've achieved a sense of peace. And if nothing else, I'm really grateful to Jono and the people I met on the course, because that sense of peace has helped me to heal many parts of my life. I no longer have headaches. I used to suffer with headaches. I used to have terrible neck pain that I was on painkillers on all the time. And honestly, those things have gone away. I don't take painkillers for my neck, and I don't have headaches anymore. My relationships with my children are much better, and my relationship with myself is a lot better. So in all, it's taken a lot of the jagged edges of life, and it's just made life more bearable. And if you think about it, we probably a long time, so we continue to get more and more bearable. And as I say, each day I learn a new lesson. It does make life a little bit different and a little bit better, and I see things a little bit more clearly. And that to me has been the biggest gift of the course.
So thank you, Robin. So just to summarize, those are the benefits of doing the Art of Letting Go course. Just to clarify, she talked about course and course. There was a lot of course stuff going on there. I'm just going to mute you guys, Lisa. There's some noise going on in the background. She talked about the course as a Course in Miracles, and then she also talked about the course that she did, which is the Art of Letting Go course. So just to clarify that confusion, but it's the Art of Letting Go course in which you will be studying A Course in Miracles. So key benefit number one, you'll be authentically happy. So you'll know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead. Number two, you'll do. So it's be and doing your daily activities in a state of flow. So you'll know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. And benefits number 3 and 4, you'll experience. So being, doing, and then having or experiencing fulfillment, higher purpose, and well-being. So it starts with the happiness and the flow, which carries into every aspect of your life, helps you to live a meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life. It gives you and others miraculous experiences and results regularly. So those are the benefits, the 4 key benefits that I promised to share with you, and how you can actually experience them through the course. So just want to talk briefly about what success is. So success is a very misunderstood idea. A lot of people think success is about some kind of external result. It's really about being able to be happy and peaceful under pressure, especially under pressure. So John from Ireland, who did the course last year, I was able to handle very difficult situations in a calm and peaceful manner while he was doing the course. Then that leads to a sense of fulfilling flow and a sense of higher purpose. So Vim said, I realized it wasn't about competition and winning. It was really about the experience. I was in flow. I really enjoyed it, and I was at peace. I experienced God's pleasure in me that day. Also learned that I can choose to let go of anger, which doesn't work, and be at peace instead. And all of that leads to a sense of well-being, and that is thriving. You can be happy, peaceful, have a sense of flow, a sense of a higher purpose in everything you're doing, and that all leads to well-being, and that is true success. The outcome looks after itself. It's not really about focusing on the outcome. It's about focusing on being in that state of wellness. And Robin, peace, less anxiety, sleeping better, not taking painkillers, getting off the drugs, no stress, headaches, better relationships with their children, not as frightened or worried. That's really what it's about. So a greater state of well-being. That's the true success that this is about. I'm just going to talk briefly about the 7 key spiritual practices that are part of this in a little bit more detail. So meditation is the first one. You'll get a 1 hour or a 40 minutes or a half hour recorded guided letting go theta meditation. And that is, let's just show you that. So I think you run a fantastic course. Model of daily meditation is a really good one. It gets everyone really engaged and really helps to make you feel that you are completely immersed. I do think it is a fantastic process, sets you up brilliantly for the day. So that was Mike from the UK who did the first course. So you'll get this guided letting go pack, theta meditations, takes you into a theta state, various lengths. In case you can't do an hour, you can do half an hour or 40 minutes. So that's an £8 value. You'll get a power sleep track with some binaural beats that's designed to help you to go to sleep at night. It's a 40-minute track, which I listen to every night. Just entrains your brainwaves into an alpha state where you're much more likely to go to sleep and sleep more deeply. And then you've got live guided meditations from Monday to Friday, plus one on Sundays. And that's about 5 hours a week. It's £300, and then this is another testimonial. So the morning guided letting go theta meditation also been wonderful. It really has brought a lot of value to my life. Love the second part of where you center yourself and smile. Very powerful stuff. So was Martin, who's a CEO of quite a successful company, who got a case study about him a bit later. So that's the meditation component. Just a little bit about the benefits of meditation, so you aware of. Really, I don't have time to talk about this in enough detail, but there's a huge amount of research that's been done where they've researched people meditating for a length of time. So this particular one, where people meditated for just half an hour per day over a period of 8 weeks, found that they became less stressed, less reactive to other people's negativity and suffering, and more compassionate. Those were the 3 main key benefits of the study, and there are many others. If you're interested, I can send you some more research. There's been hundreds of these kinds of studies, and they're all saying, this is really powerful. It's really good for your mental and your physical health. So here are some of the comprehensive benefits of meditation. So it can lower your stress levels. It can bring you more peace of mind and poise under pressure. It can improve your mental clarity and concentration. It can raise your energy levels, help you sleep more deeply and better, increase your productivity and effectiveness, boost your immune system and your general health, enhance your sense of well-being, slow down your aging process, help you live longer and feel younger, develop your intuition and creativity, improve your ability to let go and forgive others, experience more loving, harmonious relationships, make you feel happier and more fulfilled, and continuously guide you to find your flow in life. And I could go on, but those are pretty profound benefits. So you'll get recordings of the live sessions sent daily via WhatsApp. That's about 67 recordings. So just valued that at £1 a day. The live sessions valued at £10 an hour. So that's £377 worth of value. Then forgiveness or letting go. You'll get a 10-step letting go process instruction and a written worksheet, which I will give you at the end of the session if you can stay till the end. So this is what someone had to say about it. The letting go processes make forgiveness seem so simple, because that's the idea, is to simplify what a lot of people struggle with. So I'm giving you a lot of tools and techniques to help you to do that. It's a daily mind training lesson from A Course in Miracles, sent via email and WhatsApp. So it's £1 a day, and all that comes to £54. So you're going to be getting daily messages to help you to do this, to manage difficulties, difficult situations, and help you to let go as they arise. So the breathwork and mind training. So audio and video recordings to guide you through 7 powerful breathwork techniques. That's the breathwork course I mentioned in week 1. That's a £12 value. You'll get 2 audio recorded breath breaks, anything from about 3 to 10 minutes each, to guide you through practicing the mind training lesson for the day. And that's we start that from week 2 onwards. So week 1's an intro week. This is what Nadia had to say about it. Why not take a so I sent her a breath break via WhatsApp, and she said, I love these reminders and they really help me. I'm often busy scurrying around and lost in thoughts and believing them. These reminders are extremely helpful for me to take a pause, return to the here and now, and stop freaking out. Like I said before, the one technique actually stopped a panic attack, and that's been amazing for me. Hope you can continue sending them, as they really help me center and ground myself and remember who I am and choose perception, true perception, she means. And then this is what Lauren had to say. So Lauren did the first course. She's from the US. Practice with my breath. She had a trip coming up, so she had some stuff to do. And I felt that I didn't have enough time to get it all done, but she used the deep diaphragmatic breath that I'd taught her throughout the morning and afternoon. There's no mantras, no thoughts, just deep breaths. And I'd said in one of my emails that controlling the breath controls the mind. So I said I lived on that yesterday. My mind was at peace. I did all I wanted to do with zero mental fuss or chatter. Peace is real for me these days. Thank you. So that was Lauren's experience. You get daily emails and WhatsApp messages containing the text for the daily lesson and your ideal spiritual schedule, links to the audio and video recordings. So that's £43 worth, £1 a day. All of that comes to £85. And a little bit of research I wanted to show you on this respiratory muscle training. That respiratory muscles respond to training stimuli in the same manner as skeletal muscles by undergoing adaptations to their structure and function. It's direct quotes from a web page. And so when you do this kind of work, you get improvements in strength, speed, power, endurance, performance, peak inspiratory flow, maximal inspiratory and expiratory measures have all been demonstrated. And it's got many beneficial effects in healthy people. It's been shown to improve athletic performance, which is how I actually got into breathwork in the first place, through my sport. And it's found to improve breathing patterns, make respiration more efficient, lower the perception of dyspnea, which means basically bad breathing, and improve performance in hypoxic conditions. In other words, in no oxygen. So it does some pretty amazing things for your health if you do breathwork training, which is exactly what you're going to be doing for 6 weeks. And there's the link, so I can send you that. I'll send you that in follow-up to this presentation. You want to do a bit more research yourself. So moving on, this is the 4th spiritual practice. This is group discussion sessions. So live interactive online discussion sessions from Monday to Friday, and also Sundays, in which you can ask questions about the mind training lessons and the text reading that we meditate on. That's about 7 hours a week. So this is what Vim had to say. There's a powerful dynamic in doing the course material together as a group and in sharing energy. And most of all, this is what Mike said, I've really enjoyed being connected with people all over the world and hearing different perspectives from everyone. And so you'll also get recorded discussion sessions as well. So if you can't make the live ones, recordings available from Monday to Saturday. It's about 12 hours a week worth. So just valuing those at £10 an hour for the live ones, and £5 an hour for the recorded ones. So that's £780. So reading A Course in Miracles. There's one lesson from the ACIM workbook in the morning. It's one section of the Course in Miracles text. So that's 2 to 4 pages every evening. So there's a £20 value there. As Reshma said, I find the text amazing to read. It really speaks to me on a deep level and is answering my questions about life, the universe, and everything. It's simply awesome. Daily emails and WhatsApp messages containing the text for the daily lesson. It's included. So I haven't included that because it's I've already counted that in one of my previous slides. So although that's part of it, I haven't double counted. So that's £20 value. And then as part of the course, there'll be this fasting and abstinence. So just letting go of stuff that really doesn't serve you. As this quote says, the greatest enemy of hunger for God is not poison, but apple pie. It's not the banquet of the wicked that dulls our appetite for heaven, but endless nibbling at the table of the world. It's not the X-rated video, but the primetime drivel of triviality we drink in every night, and more so than in the last year. The whole COVID thing and lockdowns and pandemics. If you watch the news, it's just constant stream of stuff that's really designed to take you away from happiness and from who you really are. So here's what I recommend you do. It's entirely up to you, but it will enhance your experience of the course. So you don't eat for one 24-hour period of every week during the course. So you do a fast, and for 12 to 16 hours every day during the 6-week course, called intermittent fasting. Again, I'll send you some more information about it. It's got a lot of benefits, a lot of health benefits when you do this. And from a spiritual point of view, you are letting go of one of your primary attachments, which is to food. So it's about letting go of the body and the need for physical food. It's also about letting go of unhealthy habits. So this is the refraining aspect: not drinking, smoking, or taking recreational drugs. So if you do any of those things for 6 weeks, give yourself the opportunity not to do them, because if you do those things, it's going to dampen the transformational effect, and you won't get as much benefit from the course as you would have if you really made a concerted effort to let go of them. And who knows, at the end of the 6 weeks, you might just go, I'm done with it. I don't need to do any of that anymore. Not watching TV and avoiding news. It's another one. So it's impossible to avoid news entirely often, but you can not watch TV. You don't have to buy newspapers. You can switch off the news feeds on your phone and your computer and just take a time out. Jesus went into the desert for 40 days before he started his ministry to do exactly this. It was a period of fasting and abstinence, and he came out of that, and that's when he started his teaching and his ministry and doing his miracles. So it was a transformation experience. The idea is to give yourself that, even though you're not physically going to the desert. You're just going to practice some of these principles in your own life. So that's £250 if you don't eat, or you cut down on your food bill for the next 6 weeks. You may well save that, and who knows what you'll save if you don't drink and smoke. TV wastes a lot of time, so you might find you spend time doing much more productive things, such as this course. It's difficult to put a value to that. And then finally, your end of day reflection. So at the end of the day, I just guide you through 4 powerful questions while you're listening to the Power Sleep track. So that's £2. I've already counted that, so I'm not going to double count it. You're going to get an guided end of day reflection, an audio recording. So that's a £5 value. It's a very simple little practice, but it can be very powerful because you can learn a lot from doing it. And as Patricia said, I think I had the best night's sleep I've had in a long time. Woke up refreshed and a willingness to start a new day. Thank you for the course. I'm finding it most helpful. So there's a little summary of some of the value incorporated: meditation, forgiveness, breathwork and mind training, group discussion sessions, reading Course in Miracles, fasting and abstinence, end of day reflection. So all of that comes to £1,571. And that's not all. You're going to get some tools as well. So I'm just going to talk you through that, and I'm going to wrap this up. So now we're getting close to 9 o'clock. Your value is so 1571. Then you'll get the following tools in the Art of Letting Go course information exercise pack. £5 value of the 10-step letting go process instruction sheet and written worksheet. I'll give that to you if you stay until the end of the session. You get instructions for 6 shorter letting go processes for quick release, £1 each. 2 documents to help you understand the theory of letting go. £2 value. Worksheets for name your game and flip your flock exercises. Those are very powerful transformational exercises. Worksheets for the blueprint for your higher self and purpose exercises. And this is what Martin had to say. So he said, I really enjoyed all the little extras you threw in. Due to the name your game exercise, I became aware of my shortcomings. With the help of the blueprint builder, was able to address them. And he put it all into practice in a difficult situation with a client where he had an argument. The client put the phone down and he found peace. And the client phoned him and apologized. So I would have found peace whether he apologized or not. He concluded very powerful stuff, this. So that's really the core. These exercises are the absolute core of the course. It's really about transforming your perception of who you think you are. I guide you through some group exercises to help you to do that. And then there's some worksheets to complete as well. 8 other transformational mind training exercises, 12 pathways to higher consciousness. It's very helpful, a map of consciousness to help you navigate the levels of your mind based on kinesiology. I'll talk all about that during the course. A daily schedule planner to help you structure your day. Some inspirational quotes and even some poetry. So all of that's valued at £30, but I've already counted that previously. So just take that away. So it's a £25 value. So I was letting go course information exercise pack. Then you'll get the letting go meditation power pack. So that's the guided letting go theta meditation, 1 hour plus 40-minute plus 30-minute versions. So this is what someone had to say about it. She's tried other CDs, the essence of it, but this one gave her a sense of freedom and release she hadn't had before. Really connected her with some powerful energies, and so lots of flow, wonderful connections, meetings. So what she's describing here is a state of flow, which she felt really blessed. So you're going to be getting all of that, plus the power sleep track. So what Robin had to say about it. It's been really useful. Last night when it ended and I drifted to sleep, I could hear each heartbeat. So I'm sleeping better, I feel restful, and my anxiety levels are definitely reduced. So the letting go meditation power pack, I've already counted that, so we won't double count it. Then the holotropic breathing that I mentioned, remember this is what Phil did to have his breakthrough experience. So this is what Martin had to say. Awesome. I went to many events in my life, so it can take you into your past to review. You can have past life experiences. You can go back into the womb, pre-womb. It's an amazing experience. Literally, it is a mind-blowing. That's not an exaggeration. A mind-blowing experience, as Joanne said, and then there's Phil's breakthrough experience. That the holotropic breathing was really the catalyst for. So very powerful transformational practice, and if I did it in the UK, I'd charge £15. So there's £15 value there. You get 3 months access to the private Art of Letting Go Facebook group. So that's a comment by a lady called Mbali on the Facebook group. At the end of the first course I did, saying withdrawal symptoms, didn't realize just how spoiled I'd become. So there's a lot of value in the posts on the Facebook group. So I value that at £1 a day. And you'll get 3 months. So before the course, after the course, if you want to go and review material, you can do that. So all of that added together comes to just over £1,700. Then your first free bonus is that you'll get access to about 130 hours, give or take, probably a bit more actually, of video and audio recordings of discussion sessions during the first course. It's all on the Facebook group, and I've been doing community or club sessions for a year. There's 52 of them, I think 53 now, sessions, all of them anywhere from 90 minutes to sometimes 2.5 hours, all available in the Facebook group. So if you want to dive into those, you're most welcome to do that. And I download and listen to the audio session each day en route to work, said Robin. Just being in the session that way and listening to what's said, shared collapses time for me. I'm all the negative, stressful thoughts that used to preoccupy my mind in that commute are now not there. I'm listening and applying the ideas. So it's about 135 hours of discussion session recordings, and you'll also get about 25 hours of audio recordings of high quality meditation. So I produced them, edited them, put backing tracks, music and nature sounds, and those are actually on the Facebook group as well. So you can go and download those, listen to them, download them. And this is what Mike had to say about it. I find your meditation practice intertwined with the course content really works well. These little guided meditations on the lesson for today often show me things I would not have picked up before. They give the space to view it differently. So that's £50. And all of that, when I did all this, it came to 2021. I was like, well, okay, I must be in flow. 2021 is obviously the year we're in, so that's the value of the course. In terms of your investment, I'm not intending to charge you that, don't worry. I'll give you a 90% discount on that. So 90% off is over £1,800. There's an additional bank transfer, so if you pay by bank transfer, or you just do an early, I'll give you an early bird instead. So if you do it by tomorrow evening, in midnight tomorrow, get an early bird discount as well, or do the bank transfer. All of that comes to £197, which is over 90% discount to value. So a little bit about the dates and times. It starts on Sunday, the 24th of January, so that's next Sunday. And the course will finish on Sunday, the 7th of March. So it's a 6-week process. You'll get live online meditation and discussion sessions from Monday to Friday at those times. So 12:30 UK time, 2:30 South African time. And again in the afternoon, 4:30 UK time, 6:30 South African time. You'll get weekday sessions, which will last about 45 minutes each. You'll get live online 2-hour meditation and discussion sessions on Sundays at 12:30 UK time or 2:30 South African time. And this is a little bit about the structure. Mike said the course structure is great. Really like doing 2 calls a day. There's a different vibe, different people. You gain a lot out of them. So my teaching is very good. Clearly invested a lot of study in it. Able to discuss at length with everyone, engage everyone. I think you do a great job of keeping the flow, finding an aspect to talk about. I think your takes are very enlightening. I really do respect and impressed by your drive. And teaching skills, I think your process is amazing, yielded great results. So that's what he had to say about the whole structure of it. And the introduction is exploring the theory behind the course, reading and discussing the first chapter of the text, working through exercises 1 to 3 in the course manual, learning and practicing 7 fundamental breathwork techniques, and working through the ACIM text and workbook. And then working through 35 lessons of the workbook. Starting in week 2, we work through the chapters 2 to 5 of the text. We'll work through exercises 4 to 12 in the course manual, and we'll practice the holotropic breathing session to end. So that's a little overview. So what might be the reasons that stop you from doing this? You know, the roadblocks, as I call them. First of all, you might say, I don't have the time. So as part of this, the idea is you don't watch TV. So just don't watch TV, go to bed an hour earlier so you can get up an hour earlier, or at least half an hour earlier to meditate in the morning. So you're swapping TV time for meditation, which is a very good trade from a spiritual perspective. And you can integrate the other key spiritual practices into your daily routine to make you more effective and productive. So take breath breaks when you need a breath break from work. Listen to discussion sessions while you're doing other activities such as driving, eating, cooking, and walking. And save time on meals by doing a 16-hour fast every day. If you're not eating, then that's going to save a lot of time as well. So You might say, I'm not ready for it. Well, if you're over 30, under 30, you might argue you're not quite ready. If you're over 30, say that's just an excuse to avoid taking responsibility for your own happiness, flow, fulfillment, purpose, and success. The truth is no one else is responsible for these, and only you can do it for yourself. Life doesn't go on forever. 30 years pass very quickly. Someone in my family has been trying to write a book for nearly 30 years. And it seems like just the other day, she was like going, yeah, I'm going to do this. And 30 years later, it still hasn't happened. So 3 decades can go by very, very quickly if we don't do something to change. And I'll give you all the support and the tools that you need to do this, which I've talked about already. So you might say, I'm not ready for it. Well, this is what the Course in Miracles says in the introduction. This is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. So this course is required. We're all on this journey, whether we like it or not. It's simply up to us what we choose to learn at any given time. So hopefully this is your time. You got to learn it sometime, so why not now? Although Christian in statement, the course deals with universal spiritual themes, it is but one version of the universal curriculum. There are many others, this one differing from them only in form. They all lead to God, to love, if you want to, because God is love in the end. So whether you like it or not, you're probably going to take this course at some point, just whether you want to choose it or whether it's going to be thrust upon you by circumstances. So it's the way of mastery is the choosing proactively to do it. The way of pain, the way of the cross is just waiting for life to hit you over the head. So it's your happiness, it's your flow, fulfillment, purpose, well-being in life. If you don't invest in yourself and your life, you're really saying you're not worth it, which is the whole problem. That's the problem we're trying to address, is that we all don't think we're somehow good enough, somehow worthy. And so by saying that, you're devaluing yourself again, which doesn't really help you. The truth is that action is the most powerful form of affirmation. If you act on something, you're really saying that you believe it. So by paying for the course, you're telling yourself, your higher self, that you really are worthy of it all. And that's part of the transformation process. In fact, it's an essential part of the transformation process. It also ensures that you value and you pay attention to what you're learning. Because too often if you get something for free, you don't really value it. So a couple of practical solutions to this is that I give you a 3-week free trial. As I mentioned in the registration process, you might have got that voucher. You can do this, you can try this for free for 3 weeks. And if you don't want to continue, no hard feelings, you get it on the house. Or if you choose to pay, you get a money back guarantee anytime within the first 3 weeks of the course. So you can pay up front, money back guarantee, or if you're not sure you want to do that, you want to just give it a try, got a 3-week free trial. If you decide you'd rather not to continue with the course sometime in the first 3 weeks, and you've paid, you'll get a full refund. I've done that once. Someone who actually quite enjoyed the course, but she said she wanted to study it on her own. That's the conclusion she came to, rather than have a facilitated guided process. And if you'd rather not pay anything up front, you can do the first 3 weeks free, just to reiterate, and you can get the Letting Go Meditation Power Pack, Art of Letting Go course manual, and 6 weeks access to the Art of Letting Go Facebook group free. So no hard feelings. You can keep all those tools after 3 weeks. If you didn't feel like you got value, you want to continue for whatever reason, then keep it all. And there's £83 of value in that. If you still can't afford it, then you can do the solo version of the course. So that includes everything in the mastery course that I showed you, except the live meditation and discussion sessions from Monday to Friday. So you'll still get 1 2-hour live meditation and discussion session every Sunday, which is approximately 14 hours, 7 sessions, 14 hours, because we do 7 Sundays. So it's 43 days, just over 6 weeks in the course. So there's still quite a lot of interaction, but it's just not daily. And maybe that works for you. Maybe you don't want to do daily sessions, or you can't afford it. So the £97 is more affordable. you get a £5 bank transfer early bird discount on that. So your discounted investment is £97. Course valued at over £1,700. So that's a 94% discount to value. So 1721 less 94% discount, less the bank transfer or the early bird discount. And that is valid until Saturday. If you're not doing the bank transfer, that's valid anytime. If you're doing the early bird, it's valid until midnight tomorrow, UK time. And yeah, you're getting over 94% discount value. Or you can pay a £397 accountability deposit, do the entire course free. So if you have that money available and you really want to commit to this, because you need to commit to it, you need to do all 7 Sunday meditation and discussion sessions, all the live sessions, attend a minimum of 20 additional live sessions, which are typically about 45 minutes to an hour, Monday to Friday, complete all 12 exercises in the course manual, complete an online questionnaire after the course finishes, and do a 30-minute interview and a 5-minute testimonial at the end of the course, which I would greatly appreciate if you would let me use. So that's part of the condition. So I can use that for marketing purposes. So just to wrap up, I've given you a lot today. It's a lot of information. I'll pause after this for questions, but my question to you is, can you afford not to do this? Because it's really your happiness, it's your flow, it's your higher purpose, your well-being, your success. It's your experience of life, and these are really priceless. You can't put a price on it. I've tried to show you that there's a lot of value because I'm charging money, but ultimately these things can't really be quantified. You can't put money to them. What you can put money to is tools and techniques and resources, but ultimately these states of being are beyond money. They truly are priceless. So I hope that you will choose to value yourself, that this has inspired you to take a deep dive with me over the next 6 weeks. Be not the slave of your own past, said Ralph Waldo Emerson. Plunge into the sublime seas, dive deep and swim far, so you shall come back with new self-respect, with new power, and with an advanced experience that shall explain and overlook the old. And that's really what transformation is about, is changing, giving you a different experience and changing your perception fundamentally of yourself and of your life and the world. That's what it's designed to do. So just to summarize all of that, I've put a little table together, summarizing it all in rands, pounds and rands. So £97 is the solo course. You can do it as a couple. That's £175 or 3,600 Rand. There's the mastery course, which is the one that I showed you with all the benefits. So that's £197 for solo, or you can do it as a couple. You get a discount for that. And you can also choose to do 7 hours of one-to-one sessions, or 1 to 2 sessions if you do it as a couple with me, for an extra £200. So that's the immersion course, I call it. If you really want to dive deep into this and you want some kind of personal touch to this, so it's not just group sessions, then that's going to be for you. But there's a lot of value in any of these options, so you choose which one works for you. And the early bird specials, just to remind you, available until midnight GMT time, UK time tomorrow. Those are the prices in euros for the benefit of Mary. Lisa's still there, Mary's gone, okay. So a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, said Lao Tzu. So I hope you'll choose to take that step tonight. It's how you sign up. You can go to that URL. Don't worry to take it down. I'll send it to you tomorrow to book and pay for your place online. And you can make a £5 saving if you pay before Saturday, or just do a bank transfer. Because it saves me some money on card fees. Do accept credit cards as well, so you can pay with Visa or MasterCard or American Express if you want to, and you can also pay directly into my UK or South African bank account. It's the £5 saving there, And if you have any questions, you want to let me know you'd like to do the 3-week free trial, just message me, or you want to do the $397 deposit. If you want to include 7 individual coaching sessions as part of it, just message me. If you've got any questions, just message me and I'll be happy to answer them. Which brings us to the end of the presentation. So thank you very much for staying till the end. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to unmute you, Lisa, and Winston. Just, I don't know how much of that you got. I know you dropped in and out, but hopefully you got the general gist of it. You guys
Yeah.
there?
Yes, we're sharing
Excellent.
Yes, we hear.
Great, great. So I saw you dropped in and out a bit, but I have recorded the whole thing, and it'll be on YouTube tomorrow. So I'll send you an email and a WhatsApp message just with a link, so you can go through it again if you need to. Any of the parts you missed, the whole presentation is up. Any thoughts on it? Any questions? Any thoughts? Any comments? I've talked enough, I think.
Yeah, it was really informative. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah, it's my
And
pleasure.
well, we've actually learned a lot.
Excellent. Well, that's the idea. Have you had any thoughts about doing it?
Of course, we would love to. We'll just
Okay.
have to check as to when we can avail ourselves.
Okay.
You said you have one now, and when again?
I'm not sure when again. Probably later in the year, sometime in April, May will be the next one. You can actually do this anytime on your own. The solo option is available anytime on your own. So if you want to start and go, okay, we're doing it solo. I put you on a stream of emails and WhatsApp messages. You can do that. I would recommend doing it in a group though. There's definitely a benefit to doing that. If you're with a group and you connect with people and there's live sessions happening, it kind of creates an energy. So that's starting on the 24th of January for 6 weeks. We'll be going till about the 7th of March. And you can do this to whatever level you can. So I'm not expecting you to join every session, but they're available. They're happening. The live sessions are happening. I'm going to send you recorded sessions as well. So the idea is you fit this in with your schedule. You guys are obviously busy. You've got lives, you've got jobs, you've got kids. I understand. But the idea is to show you how you can actually fit this in and make this into a lifestyle where you can actually integrate these spiritual practices into your daily life. So like meditation in the morning, taking little breath breaks, taking some time to listen to some material, to reflect at night, just introducing these things in a way that doesn't stress you, that works for you, and that really helps you, really supports you in your life, helps you to have more happiness and flow in your life, and this can do amazing things. If you really dive into this you will be a different person 7 weeks from now, when this finishes, 7.5 weeks from now. So I'd encourage you to do it, and I encourage you to do it together. It'd be great if if you can do this together. I'm just going to stop my share so I can actually